Let us now do one more round of testing of the functional component. We'll pass the props, we'll also see how the children props works as well, and we'll also nest the functional component together. So I'll begin by commenting out the unwanted render and then put in a new component called button. Okay, this is a functional component that takes in a prop. Okay, and the contents of this button will be available as props.children. We'll see how to use this in here. I'll add some more comments in here so that you can easily track this out. So testing functional components, props, nested components. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll create a new greeting component, which is again a functional component. I'll use the other variation of the function here, the old way. Okay, and we get the props in here, right? And this will return a set of JSX. Okay, and this JSX will contain a div with a class name of say greeting, just so that we have some information. Okay, and then within this greeting we will have an h2 tag, okay, that will contain some message. Okay, welcome, and the rest of the message will be grabbed from props.message. Okay, we have to pass this message as a prop to the greeting component. Okay, now what I'll do here is I'll actually also kind of put one more component in here. So we already have a button component created, right? So I'll create a button component and I'll put the message maybe I, and then I'll use the heart component and I'll put in React. So it will be something like I allow React. Okay, that should be printed in here. Now once I have this simple component, it's not so simple, it is kind of, it's taking in a props, it has this nested component as well, and also this there's a couple of nesting going on here, right? Let's see how this is kind of rendered now. So I'll come back in here and I'll say tiny react dot render. Okay, so let's render the greeting component. Okay, pass in the message which is a prop, and I'll call it as a good day, and we'll mount this to the root. Now hopefully if our code and our recursion logic works, this component should be correctly rendered and we should see a welcome message and saying welcome, say good day, and also a button with a heart kind of, right? So I'll save this and go back to the browser and do a refresh, and voila, you can see the greeting message along with the button that is there in there, right? Let's also add one more thing to this. Let's add some logic so that when you click on this button, maybe an alert should be shown, right? So that we can complete this demo. Okay, now let us pass on the on-click handler to the button. So I'll write in on-click, and it doesn't take any parameter, and this should simply alert I allow React. Okay, so at this point in time, you see this on click is attached to the button, right? Now this is a custom button. So if I save this and go back to the browser and do a refresh, you'll see nothing is happening in here. Okay, nothing is happening in here because the event is attached to a custom button. So what we need to do is to take this event from this custom button and then pass on to the actual button object that is within this custom button object, right? Now one more thing that you can observe in here, right? The content of this button I heart say react, okay, this is available as props.children within my component. This is just the way that React works as well, right? So what I can do now is I could come back to this button in here and say on click, and then I can grab in the props and then just assign the on click of this props. Okay, the moment I do this, I am actually assigning, or I am transferring the prop from this top level button component to the inner level DOM element, which is my actual button. Once I do this and save this and go back to the browser and do a refresh, so exactly everything will be same, and now when I click on this button, you should get an alert message in here, right? So lovely, yeah, it's kind of working as expected. Okay, now since we completed rendering the functional component, the next section of video we'll take a look at how to diff functional component, and that will be kind of quite interesting as well.